Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we are going to be looking at what blessings are coming your way in June. And I could not be more excited because yesterday a new tarot deck came in the mail that my boyfriend got me for my birthday. So yay! I can only speak for myself. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you feel the same way. But this deck is so cute, and I feel when I personally vibe with the illustrations and artwork of a deck, it brings a certain extra enthusiasm to my readings that I love connecting with and putting out there. In addition to that, before we get into the readings, I wanted to ask you guys a question. So I've started doing zodiac readings now in the channel, and I love doing it. It's so fun. Have no fear though, I'm still going to be doing pick-a cards. It's just like a happy integration. And the way I'm currently doing it is I will read the general vibe and energy and kind of see whatever comes up for that personal zodiac sign, and then in the same video I will also check in with that zodiac sign in another person's relationship with someone, and that relationship can be pretty broad. So it can be love, but if this is just like somebody else in your life, a friend, whoever, that can come up too. I keep it pretty open. So I'm going to put out a poll if I can figure it out. If you don't see that poll popping up anywhere here on the community page, then you can just put in the comments below and I'll read the comments and see which comments kind of rise to the top and stuff like that. But the question basically is, I was going to see after I finished this first batch of zodiac signs if you wanted me to focus a little more on a particular aspect of that zodiac sign. Do you want me to look into the career of that? Do you want me to focus on the love relationships of that zodiac sign? I can integrate it with what I already have. I can just focus on that new topic, and it wouldn't be a permanent thing. It would be kind of like maybe from week to week, or every now and then I check in with you guys. It's to, give you guys what you personally need at this time period in your life and bring that extra little bit to the reading. And so you guys let me know, do you want to just keep it the same of what I'm doing, then or when I finish this batch, when I go into the next one, maybe focus on, like I said, love or career specifically. You let me know in the comments below, and we can kind of like see how this goes in the future and how we can either maybe keep checking in with each other, or I'll just see how it feels from week to week. Well, it's a bit of an experimental phase, you know what I'm saying. Anyways, now that we've asked that question, I look forward to hearing from you guys. We have 4 groups in front of us. I want you to pick with the group that you resonate with most. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to give you a moment to pick. And now that you've picked the group you vibe with, you can just go down to the description where you can skip to your designated group and mark the timestamp. And let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out what's coming for you in June by looking at the cards. Let's first look at your energy going on. Interesting. Let's look at the story going on behind that. Okay, we have that repeat. Ah, yeah. Okay. Wow, this is just like, this is like a roller coaster. Let's get some more clarity here. Okay. Wow, this is a big month for you. All right, this is a very big month for you. Can they change it? Okay, nice. All right, well, that was up, down, around, and loop-dee-doo. Okay, so we got a lot going on. It's a pretty big month for you. I just needed to get all the information before I jumped to any conclusions, because if you are a fellow tarot reader, context is everything, and you don't want to just jump to conclusions and kind of put in your own narrative, so to speak, because some things take on a whole different meaning, if that makes sense, when you have everything to look at. You do want to look at things individually, but like that bird's eye view of the narrative is like everything in my personal way of reading. So let's first talk about the energy going on here. a lot of it's focused around the sense of like what's going on at home. Yes, it's heavily at your physical home, but I'm getting more, I'll be honest with you, Spirit's making me feel it very strongly, an internal sense of home, like your inner narrative, if that makes sense. And your inner narrative is like your core concepts, your core beliefs, your core passions, everything that you do, you know how you turn back inwards in yourself and go, do I want to do this? Do I like this? It's a sense of stability, and it's your core belief system coming through, which is really interesting because this is a wands type of scenario, but that's what I'm being told about. Now, I do want to point out this has nothing to do with other people. So this is, even though we're talking about your home, we're talking about the representation of like where you go, you figure out your stuff and everything we just discussed. We're not talking about, this is nothing to do with loved ones, roommates, nothing like that. But either way, we got the Five of Wands. Now, a lot of people just sum this card up as like general fighting, but this can talk about vigorous debate and does not necessarily have to be a bad thing. For me, it's more just the kind of neutral reading of this card, which is the idea of you have two different concepts going on. Usually this goes on between two different people, but in your case, it's kind of like you're thinking about two different things and you're debating back and forth about how you feel or where you want to give more attention to or whatever. And it just seems like you can't come to a definitive conclusion, but you can't stop discussing it with yourself either. And so you feel very pulled back and forth and back and forth. And I find this card is very enticing. So you keep being enticed back into having the discussion. You can't seem to let it go. And it must be very important when it's related to your core issues, like we talked about with the Four of Wands, the things that make you feel stable, the things you're working towards, that inner home, we'll just simply refer to it as. So let's go down here and see what's going on here. Like I said, I'll do the best to not ramble, but you have so much going on in this month. It's intense. Like, this is a lot to do with what will be very face value material type of, I don't want to say like obstacles, because I don't see any obstacles. It's more like your perspective of obstacles, if that makes sense. But then there's a lot of stuff to do with spirituality and the universe and like heeding the call and that type of stuff and karma, but we'll get into all of that. So I do want to give you the confirmation when I see the Justice card and the Two of Pentacles, everything's fine this month, like face value, because this is very heavily sorted around money and career and working on stuff for you this month. I just want to give you the confirmation that everything's fine. Everything's totally okay and going to be fine. It's going to be pretty much kind of a bit of a neutral month for you, as in like you're going to do great at your job. Everything will work out smoothly. You'll handle everything well. I don't see any type of conflict coming your way. You're going to have a great month. I'm not saying you're going to be like, yes, I love every second of this. I mean, you can change that with a perspective or attitude change, but it's just the confirmation of like, while you're being told this other information, the work itself is A-okay, just fine, nothing's wrong with that. But here's the thing. We have a lot of stuff that it feels like you're inserting problems there that are not there, if that makes sense. And yes, we do have the confirmation that you can change that, and we can get into all the positive details of what's the problem and how can we fix that. Because when we insert our own problems into situations that are totally fine, our insides, our subconscious are trying to tell us something that we need to work on or work out. And this is a good thing, because when we fix and heal our core problems on a deep level, that basically removes anything possibly in our way, and it makes our life smoother and happier and welcomes in more abundance and makes manifesting easier with love and money and all this other stuff. So this is a good thing. I just want to point that out. So first we have Two of Pentacles here. You're vibing, you're doing a good time, you're handling the things you need to do at home, like chores and stuff like that, and you're handling what you need to do at work and all the tasks that are being given to you. Everything's fine and working out a-okay. But still you're not happy. And this is just straight up a card that says like you're not happy, you're not in your blissful state. And it's just kind of a simplified card to talk about the idea of happiness. But the reason why you're not happy is in the Death card, which I think is really interesting. This is kind of an inevitable and dramatic metamorphosis and rebirth. And sometimes when we go through these type of changes, we either don't mean to, or we consciously are like, this is too much. I don't know if I can handle this, so to speak. And we resist. And I see resistance. It's like you want to keep going back to what you're comfortable with, what you know. In the Two of Pentacles, you're like, I don't want to change. I know how to handle my life. And so that's where the inner turmoil starts to kick off. We have some answers. But you do need to change. It doesn't mean because you're moving forward, you necessarily have to leave everything behind. Often what we leave behind in a death card situation is like a mental thing. I don't see you leaving your job or anything associated with that, but it's like your comfort is what you know, and you just, when this uncomfortability of having to face and discuss stuff with inside yourself and be like, I have to change my opinion. I don't know if I want to change my opinion. You keep going back to this, and that's the main cause of you resisting the metamorphosis. And I just want to point out, when we resist things, it causes other feelings. Again, I just want to clarify to give you comfort. These bad feelings are not going to affect your world around you. Your home's going to be fine. You're going to have your home, no problem. You're going to be able to pay your bills, no problem. Nothing's going to be affected with anyone else. This is just your inner story going on. But because of this resistance and making you feel off, and you're discussing all of these things within you. By the way, the death card's not causing this. This figuring stuff out is causing the death card in reverse. But the death card in reverse and the unhappiness is what leads to the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles in reverse is showing us and you relying too heavily on money to define your self-worth. It's like feeling like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know what to believe in. Oh no, what if I lose everything? And we're deeply conditioned in society to go straight for money. What if I lose my money? Oh wait, what if I have more money, this will make other situations easier to process. And that is true in many cases. I know they say money can't solve anything, and in core value when it comes to spirituality, it's true. Like, focus on that. But let's be real. Money does help a lot, and there's nothing spiritually wrong with money. But the obsession with money and the defining yourself with money this month, that seems to kind of pop up in as a result of all of this stuff. Again, we can change this. This doesn't have to be how the narrative goes. This is just like you trying to find a sense of grounding and comfort, because the king is a master of stability, because he is a master of manifesting and being able to create and attract and work with his business, and he's so successful because he enjoys the act of business, if that makes sense. And that's beautiful, nothing's wrong with that, but the perspective and the way you're going about it is giving it a topsy-turvy type of thing. So this is where the story kind of continues on over here. So justice and judgment are like really huge cards for like karma and the universe giving you sort of a test, and there's often with the judgment card, there's the term heed the call that kind of pops up as a sort of description. And in this case, we again get the positive affirmation or positive confirmation of the Justice card that everything's going to be fine with you karmically. Karma is kind of an interesting, because karma is something you just work out and you figure out, you understand. Many people believe it as you do something bad, you get a repercussion. It's more like you do something bad and you keep repeating that something bad in this lifetime and other lifetimes until you understand and can sort and heal that situation. So just for an understanding of karma. But with this justice card, it says like, yeah, your karma's fine. As you continue to work for things, you positively get back what you have put in. But it also is a positive perspective and something food for thought to consider as you're moving forward through such a difficult time. It's like, when I put in a positive attitude and am more open to this change and rebirth and kind of being okay with the unknown, because that's what sometimes it feels like with the death card. It feels like you're leaving something behind, but you're not quite sure what you're going into. I get all this great stuff back, because in my heart, I'm vibrating really well. I'm vibrating at a much more loving and higher level, and I can trust in that. That's what the spirit guides are telling me right now. They're saying that it's so interesting and complex. Humans can be like processing like 8 different things on 8 different levels. So even if you emotionally feel bad, I'm being told your heart is like just doing great, and that is why you have earned in a that's the key word, earned here, this death card. So you're going to be fine and be led in the direction that you're happiest with. And it's about trusting your heart and knowing that you're going to get back what you've put in. But let's talk about the Judgment card and the Knight of Pentacles here. The Knight of Pentacles does talk about your belief system again, things like doing stuff for the greater good. And again, another positive affirmation that you're kind of moving towards something bigger. Again, it's so funny. It's like it's not going to quite pop up in this exact month, but something big is happening to you on a very deep spiritual level. This type of stuff pops up when people have felt destined to help other people. This is when you feel like you suddenly understand your purpose in life, and then you somehow integrate into our society in a normal way, but you feel on a deep cosmic level something different. You know what I mean? It does show me that this isn't going to happen for a while. It's going to take a little bit, but we know that because of the resistance going on. But again, judgment call. Heed the call. This is being read both upright and reverse in this particular situation, because it does give the confirmation to me both, yes, you will heed the call ultimately, but in the beginning, you won't. In the beginning, there's a lot of resistance and bad judgment. Again, the beautiful thing is it doesn't affect anything. It's more just like, when we make decisions we don't feel confident about, when we know in our heart isn't the right decision, we just feel off. You're being really well taken care of by the universe, because while you're feeling topsy-turvy, nothing is... A lot of people believe in the idea of law of attraction. If you think something negative, you'll get something negative. But we just keep being told time and time again that that's just not going to happen to you. You're being given the room and space in June to figure stuff out without attracting anything, which is beautiful. So you might say, okay, well, I don't know if I want to feel this feeling. If everything's going to be great, how can I feel better in order to not go through all of this uncomfortability? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because we have this over here with the Fool card and the Four of Cups in reverse. Well, in the Fool card in reverse, first off, you're going to, the first little bit of guidance I see coming through is just the general idea that you need to be aware of when you're making choices that are risky or gambling your well-being. And this sounds very dramatic. It's not meant to be. It's like, if you feel like by making a decision or not making a decision, it is, you knowingly know it's going to make you not feel good, you're basically being told, don't do that. So if you feel like you start to kick in and feel money obsessed, that's the gamble. That's the thing that's serving you. Don't do that. Try to pull away. Try to remind yourself, you're doing great. I'm telling you, you're going to continue doing great. And try to instead focus that attention on anything, even if it's a distraction, like a favorite TV show or something like that. Or maybe you get into Pinterest and you start pinning some fun dream ideas and refocus that attention towards something positive. You're just basically told you're going to see the red flags of mental pattern behaviors, and just don't put yourself in that position. You'll be able to make a decision and get out of there before you're in that situation. But that also goes for other choices when it comes up with hanging out with friends, or if you're going to buy something. If you already know it's going to cause you some sense of discomfort, this is the time period to just not do that. Sometimes by not doing anything, you're actually doing something, which is really interesting, because many art people would argue otherwise. But the Fool card upright, and this is being taken in that context as well, is leaping into the Four of Cups, which represents coming out of a bad mood. And the Fool card upright's really cute and beautiful, but for some people it may be difficult to understand. I believe in you, and I know that you'll be able to encompass this energy if you can go into June working on it and then really master it by the end of the month. So the Fool card upright traditionally talks about this person who is basically they're going off in their journey, and they believe everything's going to be great. Miracles are going to happen. All this good stuff's going to come to them, of course. And guess what? Because they have that attitude, it does. It is, a lot of people think the Fool card is kind of so free-spirited, they're airheady, and they're not thinking. Oh, they are just simplifying it. They're not overthinking it. And they are just so connected to their belief system and allowing that to not only be their compass but also their outcome, that the universe reflects it. They're actually incredibly in tune with the universe. It's really funny because the Fool card, if you know about the Fool's journey with the major arcana, something I find really interesting is, yes, they have to go through all this ups and downs to understand a lot of things, but they've already figured it all out in the very beginning with the Fool card. They've already figured out the secret of how to master all this stuff. This is the confirmation that, like, you already know better. I mean, that's why you've earned this metamorphosis going on in the Death card. Getting all this positive confirmation, these big universal things going on over here. We again have the confirmation that everything's going to be fine at home. This is all based on your deep vibrational level and subconscious beliefs. You might go through a time period where you're being tricked at your, how do I express this? We have our heart and our head often speaks loudest than our heart. Your heart's working on a great level. Your head might trick you, and by when you're going through this change in discomfort, try to lead you in a well-meaning way into finding comfort, which will then ultimately make you feel discomfortable, but none of that's affecting anything else. You've positively earned this. You know what to do. You can obtain and embody the Fool's energy. So do it. Go for it. So this month is going to be a lot of stuff of contemplation and working some stuff out. And I will be honest with you, it will be a little bit of back and forth and understanding things, but it doesn't have to be uncomfortable. You can stop a lot of this unhappiness and discomfort and instead enjoy the change. And again, be told that everything's okay. So if you feel discomfortable this month or worry if it's going to affect anything, it's not going to. You're going to do great. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I did. Please consider giving the video a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. And let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's find out what's coming for you in June by looking at the cards. And also, my third eye is vibrating so hard right now. It is... I'd say it's uncomfortable, but if you've experienced it before, and you have to let me know in the comments below, it's like, it's welcomed discomfort, if that makes sense. Anyways, back to your reading. Let's look at the energies going on for you this month. Oh, interesting. I'm being told this is upright and reverse. Okay, well, let's look at the story going on here. Oh, I see why. Okay. Do you have anything else to say? Oh, I love that. Okay, wow. This is awesome. This is a very self-discovery month. So, oh, my third eye is vibrating so hard right now. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. So, this is so cool. I'm very excited for you. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on here. Now, most of this is focused around both your emotions and how you personally feel and what you feel you can give others emotionally, and like you could say resource wise, but I'm getting more heavily that your resources are your energy and your emotions. But also it talks about what you're working on. I keep being pulled very intensely both ways with both like a current project, like what you do for your career type of thing, but I also feel like you're working on some sort of core, again, belief system that's popping up. Either way, it seems like the universe is trying to help you with that, with your steady flow and consistency, but it kind of wants you to be aware of some things because it looks like you're emotionally going through some stuff at this time. And that's fine. That's okay. Because it's kind of one of those things where you look back and you go, oh, it was all happening for a reason. Ah, now I understand. Everything was beautifully and divinely working out just the way it was meant to. I feel comfortable with that. And this is to give you some comfort during that time period. Now, I don't want to ominously leave that as in anything bad's going to happen. And then you look back and go, oh, well, I learned a lesson. No, everything's fine. It's more of an emotional thing. So let's go into specifics with that. So the Eight of Pentacles over here is you working consistently on something. This is just kind of your day-to-day grind. This can refer to, again, you on the daily putting the effort for your affirmations, you're figuring out stuff. I'm getting told that you can do affirmations and that can definitely be a part of it, but I'm being told these are like, you're constantly throughout the month, something, you interact with someone and you immediately think, how does this relate to what I believe in ultimately? But it's consistently, it's like all the time, every day, every interaction. You're really deeply doing some beautiful inner work and figuring out your place in the world and where you ultimately wanted to go. It's not meant to be heavy and conflicted and negative. It doesn't feel like you're, I can't explain it. It's like you might be overdoing it, but it's a great thing that you're going about it, and many of the times it can be positive. It's like you receive ice cream and you think, am I someone that likes ice cream? And then you go, I think I am. I'm someone that likes ice cream. That's not something that's heavy and can be overwhelming to go through if you don't want to go through it. In fact, that is not the theme of this month. I want to be absolutely clear. But even though this is you working on that belief system, you working at work regularly, and I do want to put out the positive affirmation that yes, if this is something that you're working towards a career, we're being told that this is the month you get clues in order to feel like you're actually moving more forward rather than just simply building up and working on this project and career. But you are kind of being told that there could be a tendency this month to overdo it in the perfectionist route. It's so great that you're enthusiastic of working again on belief system and career. I'm going to be bouncing between those two because they're so heavily popping up. But you don't have to be perfect in order to have success or to put things out there. So if you feel that popping up, that's something you definitely want to keep an eye on, because your enthusiasm can accidentally go in that route, and that's not going to necessarily make you feel the best. And that then leads to the Page of Pentacles energy. This is like such fantastic energy. When this card's upright, and it can be upright, but the way it can be reverse is from the perfectionism, so you want to kind of be aware of that. When the Page of Pentacles is up, did I say Page of Cups? Page of Pentacles is up. This is when you are living your life in a pretty free way and you're not overthinking things. You have the intention you're putting out there of who you want to be, again, the belief system, or where you want to go with your career. But as you're putting out this belief system and you're saying to the universe, this is what I want, you are not overthinking every step. You're just focusing on the daily grind of what you need to get done. And by having that attitude, the universe kind of slowly just throws things in your lap. And the idea is not you pre-planning, but instead accepting each time you get an opportunity, every time someone's handing you a book for advice, or you hear something that inspires you, and then in that moment being like, okay, how can I now apply that to what I'm currently working on or figuring out belief system wise, and then not worrying about the next step, but then waiting for the next one. And you're just kind of in this nice effervescent flow with the universe, and it's sending messages and you receiving that. But when it's in reverse, it's kind of when you're not receiving those messages and they're around you, but you can't quite see them. And we know why, because you'd be so focused on something being perfect in your work, you can't look up and multitask the both working on, again, the belief system, career, and also being able to see the messages. You have to think of them as like activities, and that includes receiving the messages, and you have to have time for everything, so to speak. So you don't want to overdo it in one department. So let's look at the story going on this month. That's really interesting because it does involve socialization. That's why I was interested when I got this over here, and this made so much sense because I saw this social interaction so I didn't see other cards that related to other people. In fact, every card is more stoically about you. It's like singular. And I knew this was a social interaction, so I was like interested how that would pop up later. I'm glad I asked if there was more you needed to know. So over here, this talks about your temperature and your vibe going on. The Hangman in reverse shows that you're going to be socializing with people kind of, you won't really have a choice. It's just going to kind of fall into your lap. You're going to be pulled into these circumstances, and you don't necessarily feel ready, and you haven't felt ready for a while, but you're going to do it. It's just kind of destiny, whether this be your own choice or your friends forcing you. Either way, you're going to be socializing in this way. But here's something interesting that keeps popping up, is this feeling from you of like, well, I don't know if I'm ready because I don't know if I have that part of myself to give. The Four of Pentacles is someone who says, I feel without, so I'm going to hold on to everything, because if I give anything, I think I might fall apart. This can involve money, this can involve time, this can involve emotions, and it is a reflection that that's where you feel you're at, and that's not something that you can necessarily force. And I just want to point out that nothing in here says that you are lacking. It's more where you feel you are emotionally. That gets repeated again here in Ace of Cups. We can get more specific of what you feel like you can't give up. You just don't feel open and trusting right now. That's just not where you're at. That's the main thing you're going to be focusing on this month, is how can you build up trust? How can you work on trust? It's not bad that you don't feel that you have that or have that to give. That's okay. You find what works for you when you don't need to force yourself. But if you can slowly start to give yourself that comfort, in the long run, this is like a core thing, I guess you could say issue, that you can work on, that's going to positively affect other parts of your life and bring you long-term happiness and success and stuff like that. But as you're working on it now, that's fine. You have to start somewhere. But I want to point out something with the Four of Pentacles being upright. This is a really loving card from your spirit guide saying, if you need to be selfish right now, that's okay. People use the word selfish in an inherently negative way, but it just means you're doing something for yourself. And if you believe in the idea that we're all one and we're all one consciousness, there's the belief system that as you take care of yourself, you're in turn helping everybody else. So if that is a worry for you, consider that a sort of loving thing you can tell yourself. But this is the universe saying, that's fine. You don't have to give out that emotional feeling if you don't have it. Hold on to it. Do what you need to do. In this case, you're not holding yourself back from anything or preventing anything positive from coming into your life. You're just taking care of you. But you can, and this is where the cards come in, you can find a hybrid of taking care of yourself but also being more open to a certain extent when we talk about the messages of the universe. Consider this, when there's the potential to be a perfectionist when pursuing these goals, that's not being more open, that's being or that's not protecting your resources, that's spending them more. That's spending more of your emotions, spending more of your energy. So just consider that if you feel those sort of habits popping up. That's funny. Spirit Guides was going to make me say habitual. I don't know if that resonates with you, but I'm just going to put that out there. Anyways, so you're going to be out socializing, and as you're having fun with them, definitely keep in mind that if you can't tell them all your secrets, everything you're going through, or you don't want to spend all that money, you don't have to. Just you be you be who you need to be. You know what I'm saying? But over here with the Fool card, it's so funny. It's in reverse, but I keep being told by Spirit it's a hop and a leap and a skip upwards. Okay. The Emperor in reverse talks about this active control, and we talked about that concept in the Eight of Pentacles. This is somebody who feels they are think of somebody trying to hold up all of the pillars of their home and forcing it and thinking if they let go, it will somehow crumble. When if you're, a normal person, you'd be like, no, the pillars are holding up the home. You trying to hold up the pillars of the home aren't affecting anything. That's again some food for thought to consider when you find yourself in a moment of going towards these natural reactions. You know what I'm saying? So with the Fool card, this is kind of saying, listen, you need to change your outlook. This person, this version of you that thinks in the worst is then acting from that mind state. You need to take on the mentality that everything's going to be okay. The Fool card is the beautiful mantra that if they believe everything's going to be okay, it is. Like it is. The Fool card gets rewarded for that positive belief. They have the rainbows and the sunshine and the cute happy dog. They're not worried about the potential of like, well, what if they step off this, cliff? What's going to happen? They're like, who says it's a cliff? who says I can't fall into a beautiful waterfall and then end up going swimming and have a beautiful time. You see what I'm saying? So it's about taking on that sort of positive mindset, but mindset, I'm like creating words here, but it's also somebody who's, again, like the Page of Pentacles we talked about, more free-spirited. They are able to kind of go with the flow, take each moment as it comes. You see what I'm saying? And I just want to point out that is a totally different vibe energy than the Emperor. So you can see as they're trying to hop and skip over the Emperor is like, nope, I don't have the emotion to spare. I have to do X, Y, and Z. And this is so much more of the vibe you want to go for this month and that you'll be able to connect with. The Emperor is the version that it could be if you allow all of this to get away from you, and they're proactively controlling and they're proactively closing themselves off emotionally. This is you just saying, I feel, but I don't need to share that with other people. If I feel that by sharing makes me feel drained, then don't. But also, by finding that hybrid in between, I'm still living life and for the better. And this is where it gets really important with what's going on here. So we're getting the confirmation again that you will be socializing with friends, and this will be a really great time to build some happy memories. And these are people worth spending it with. I just want to point that out. But also, when we have a Seven of Swords situation in reverse right next to that, this is so cool. So this shows that by socializing and observing, this is a very observational state we have here, you are understanding, what do you believe? What are your mindsets? How do other people view the... I'm so sorry. I have like a chip in my throat. How do other people view the world? How do they see things? And then this is you picking and choosing what is it that you want to take with you as you eventually return to a state of more flow, more openness, and understanding that you have plenty to give and feeling like you have plenty to give. You know what I mean? It's this beautiful thing going on where you're going to be progressing, you're going to be in sync with the universe, you're going to be moving forward maybe when you don't feel ready, but that's okay. You can find a way of moving forward, but still conserving and finding what feels the most comfortable to you. If you want to go hang out with friends but sit in the corner, watch, observe, listen. That is going to help you grow and transition and feel better in the long run, but you're building something. Like, to understand how you think and how other people think and adapting what you pick and choose and want, I mean, you're creating something beautiful. I mean, mindset is everything in life. It often dictates the heart louder in our society. To have a mindset you feel is more beneficial is everything. And these are the right people and the safest environment to do it. But be aware of these other things because they can kind of slow you down or hinder some stuff, and you don't need it to be. Keep working hard, keep doing that daily grind, listen to the universe, take it one step at a time, believe, but also don't give where you don't feel like you can, but know you can still progress even if you feel like you're standing still. That's how I want to put it. So if you enjoyed this reading as much as I did, you lovely, lovely soul, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out what's coming for you in June by looking at the cards. Let's check your energy. Oh, you are thriving this June. Oh, my heart is like, I don't know if you can feel it, but I am like getting emotional at how much you're thriving this month. I am feeling this on such a deep level. Okay, so this is so beautiful because not only are you thriving financially, and this is something you've been working towards for a while, but you're thriving because you also have made amends with something that's been bogging you down. And I can't tell if it's for some time or not. We'll find out as I pull some more cards, but I want to get into specifics here in a second. But that is the ultimate combination for me for happiness. That is so beautiful. So let's look at the story going on here. Oh, that's why. Oh, I love this. This is so gorgeous. Okay. I have so much to say. Okay, so let's start off where it initially starts this month and then all this good stuff happening because it's interesting. That's why I got so emotional. I can feel this is a super cathartic month for you because, yes, on a core level, we have different versions of success. You can say, well, I understood myself better or something. That is so deep and meaningful and can be life-changing. But it definitely feels great when you get financial reward for feeling like you've understood something or accomplished something. Who doesn't love that? But yes, you're going to get financial reward and all that jazz. But with the Five of Swords, we're understanding the connotation of like, what are you making amends with? So let's start where you're going. Or wait, what I meant by the catharticness is you're starting somewhere and then you're going somewhere. So let's start in the beginning of the month. So we have a Two of Pentacles in reverse situation and a Seven of Pentacles in reverse situation. So over here, I can see that you're going to start finding yourself slipping up in your kind of day-to-day and your work life and stuff like that. Just little small mistakes, dropping something and it breaking, which fun fact, which it's so funny, spirit guides just made me say that and also showed me the image of that. In many situations and belief systems, there is the idea that if you break something, it's actually good luck because it's an idea of an old pattern finally ending. So it's not a bad thing the way it, is often feels in the moment. But these are small little things. And it often shows when you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you have too much on your plate and it's kind of starting to add up. But we can actually get specific of why that's adding up when we look at the Seven of Pentacles over here in reverse. So this shows you working on something over and over again. There's this type of monotonous feeling. It's different than the Eight of Pentacles because the Eight of Pentacles is somebody who understands that, like, think of somebody who's like a cabinet maker, right? And they understand that they're making money now and they will continue to, but it is not the feeling of a building up progression, but a day-to-day sort of work on what you need to, and then you're earning more, you're continuing to earn more, compared to somebody who feels like they take on more work as they're more successful. That's the more vibe between the Seven of Pentacles. You're hoping you're encompassing the Eight of Pentacles, but in the end, you want this big, it's kind of like a beginning career sort of vibe. So you're hoping all of this work you're doing is going to be adding up to like an ultimate promotion or a reward, that kind of thing. Sorry, I can tell, I think sorry about that long pause. I thought my neighbor was listening to me. Sorry about that. Anyways, I'm very sensitive to sounds and stuff like that. Anyways, going back to what we were saying, apologies about that interruption. So with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, unfortunately, this is that feeling of like, you're working towards something and it just doesn't seem to be adding up. You're hoping it will, but this is the confirmation that unfortunately you've picked a dead end sort of pattern to go about it. And you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you're expecting different results, and this is just not working for you and won't be working for you. Now, here's the cool thing going on here. So you have this popping up, your subconscious is speaking back to you and starting to have you kind of have little small mess ups, nothing major, just enough that it's trying to bring your attention to you saying, see, it's not working. I'm trying to reflect in your environment what your heart already knows, the universe already knows. So over here we have a decision being made. Now, I just want to point this out, this is like a side subject. Is this not the cool of two of Swords? I love this Two of Swords. I love the double hands. Perfect, beautiful. Anyways, because that also often is how it feels like when you blind yourself trying to make a decision. Anyways, so we have the swords and the water in the background I want you to consider, and that works perfectly with what's going on here. The decision you're going to be making is kind of, this is the material world, things you can touch and see, and the habits and the way you're approaching the work. And you're saying to yourself, I'm approaching this from a very logical mindset, with the swords. Is this what I want to do? Does this make sense? And then in the background is the water. Notice it's in the background. It's trying to get your attention. It's always been there. It will always be there to help you. It's like a river. It will take you to your destination in the end if you just lean back and let it do its thing. But you're saying, what do I want to give more priority to? I think I've given this too much priority. And yes, a balance is beautiful, but in this case, I want a huge dramatic shift and go to the Queen of Cups. This is somebody who is following her heart and is able to make decisions, not just from listening to her intuition, but she's able to step back. If this makes sense, like she pulls back and she's more of a master of her intuition than she was, that's what I'm sorry. The pronouns are getting mixed up because Spirit Guide is like trying to speak through me. She, her. I'm seeing if there's anything else needing to be said. Anyways, they're basically trying to give you more credit. That's what the Spirit Guide's going, yes. That you're being given more credit, that you know how to pull back from a situation, see everything as a whole in order to make your intuitive steps. So this is not just, when you're closing your eyes, you're listening to your heart, you feel like you're very much in that moment. I'm being shown a picture where it's like there's a bowl and there's a lot of people in the bowl, and you feel like you're standing in the middle of the bowl and you can't see that you're in the bowl. You're just seeing the immediate people and situations in front of you, and in that moment you're choosing with your heart. In other cases, that's great and that works and everything, but in your case, you're going to step outside of the bowl, realize everything that's in the bowl itself, in order to make the best intuitive decision, because you can then see what's on the outskirts of the bowl. You can see what the bowl is representing itself. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to be pulling more into what you want to do and what it feels right, but that is the way you're connecting to that part of your intuition, if that helps. So we got the confirmation over here beautifully with the Chariot that all of this kind of like not feeling like you're going anywhere and feeling like there's little mess ups, guess what? This is the ultimate win of victory. Everything's going to work out. You're going to be given a reward. It's going to be a big shift and deal when this change happens, which is why we have not only this confirmation of the big shift. The Chariot is like a huge sort of reward or thing you're receiving. It's more than just being like, oh, you figured something out and things are working a little bit better and you're making a little bit more money. This is like a substantial amount of money, but we can actually see the confirmation with the Nine of Pentacles. This is like this would be something huge, like a promotion. This would be something like you change careers and suddenly you're working for yourself and you're making like 3 times more money than you ever did, and you're enjoying what you're doing way more. You know what I mean? The Nine of Pentacles is somebody who's not only making a lot of money, but by the end of the month shows confirmation that you're going to be treating yourself. You're going to be buying nice things, feeling no guilt, feeling so proud of yourself. Really just asking yourself, especially this goes perfectly with the Queen of Cups. Okay, now I understand what Spirit Guides is just like popping in and adding stuff. Essentially, they're saying that by connecting, when you pull out of that bowl metaphor we talked about, it's you sitting back and going, well, what do I want to do when I work hard and I get all of this money? Like, what is it that I want to receive? What is the receiving that I have? Like what would the things that be that I want to buy? What's the main reason I'm doing all of this? And by focusing on that and kind of embodying the idea that you're like, yep, I have that now. That's the thing I'm attracting. That's the goal. That's where my attention and intention is going. You get rewarded with that. Your mind has been too focused on the here and now and the what you need to do on the day-to-day. You've forgotten the whole reason why you're doing that. So the universe is only giving you more and more of the day-to-day rather than the end goal. So it seems like you get this outer perspective, this huge shift, and then by the end of the month you're treating yourself, you're enjoying luxurious things, whatever that version is for you, and you're enjoying this huge shift financially for you in your life, big change in your life, especially with the Chariot popping up. But the making amends is really interesting because this is part of you saying it's okay that I did that. I'm no longer going to beat myself up and hold on to any resentment that I was focused on the wrong thing for so long. By forgiving myself for that and understanding that it was a part of the process and journey of me getting to this situation, I can let it go and therefore be completely open emotionally. No longer feel bitter that I'm wasting time or feel like get hung up in such a way that prevents you from receiving all the answers. These are the little things that can act as like a hang up, and I don't even need to tell you and give you any advice. You're going to naturally let that go, but that is a key component with the outer bowl, connecting to what you want to do emotionally and with your heart that we talked about. That's going to be the winning combination to everything. So listen to your subconscious, make that change and shift decision. We know where you're shifting your attention and from where it is, how you're going to be forgiving that, and the ultimate outcome. So it's a pretty great month for you, and I'm pretty excited. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. I could not be more happy for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out what's coming for you in June by looking at the cards. Let's first look at your energy popping up. Okay. Ooh, I love this. Oh, I love this for you. Oh, my heart deeply loves this for you. Oh my, okay, before I pull the story, I'm gonna get into why I'm so excited. The Magician card is, in many people's perspective, like the card you want to get to in life, because this is somebody who not only feels great in who they are, and we'll get more specific into that in a second, but they can make anything happen. So they're totally in touch with the universe, themselves, and then can, in addition to that, manifest anything they want. And this is a clear answer as to how you're going to be getting there. And to me, it's an extremely valuable lesson in life. So let's get into the story before we get into all that jazz. Right here is like, there you go. Boom. Don't even need to pull more cards. I am going to pull more cards, but let's see what's going on. Oh, look at her gorgeous. Look how beautiful that is. Oh, I love this deck. Anyways, so when you got the High Priestess, am I connecting to a witch? Hello, magical person. Now, I just want to be clear, even if you do not practice magic, I just want to be clear that literally we are living magic, doing it whether we are aware of it or not, and always going about it. I'm sure many, actually I don't want to put this out there. Let me put this back. Some people might disagree, but I personally believe there is not a lot of differences. In fact, none. It's just the ways you go about it, from traditional magic to law of attraction, it's to manifestation. It's all the same thing about energy and intention and will and concentration and mindset and stuff like that, and then all these details. But anyways, the point is, pretty magical qualities coming through. This also not only connects to people who are traditionally practicing magic, but people who have, whether they are aware of it or not, a pretty heavy psychic abilities and natural and I just want to be clear about something. When you first experience your psychic abilities, you will downplay them and be like, well, I don't know, I just get this vibe from them or something. That is psychic abilities. I just want to be clear about that with you. Anyways, either way, there's a lot of magical tendencies popping up in you, and I think you should definitely foster that, because Spirit Guide just made me go on a whole rant about it, so clearly it's important. Anyways, let's go back to the reading. So, the Magician. Let's start about that and then talk about what this is through this. So our Magician is somebody who has totally mastered all of the elements, including spirit. They've got their passion down, they understand their beliefs and how to work with money, they've got their emotions open and flowing and in sync, they understand their mindset, they're connected to up above and below, the tangible and intangible. It's a lot of things to master, and people, when they are trying to get to some form of enlightenment or some sort of, because the Magician, are we not all trying to, connect to our higher selves while simultaneously trying to understand how we work with people at work and understand our friends, and trying to think of this universe as an illusion, but it's not an illusion. It's a lot of complex things going on all at once. So it's a balance of all of these. And to get there will open yourself up to all of this other jazz, because you can use all of these different abilities you've mastered subconsciously beautifully working in tandem because you know how they work. And I just want to put this out there. The magician, this is the last thing I want to say before I can go into more specifics. Your spirit guides say the magician is somebody who doesn't have to think about this. They just know what to do. It's like you're living your life and you just suddenly get like a free ice cream, or you meet the love of your life the next second. You're not really sure how it's happening, but you're just making all the right decisions without having to think about it. So I just want to be clear, the magician isn't always aware they're the magician. So I can see that somebody is going to be putting a lot of stuff your way. This could be a friend, this could be a loved one, this could be anybody, but they seem like they're trying to pass on a lot of tension your way. This could potentially result in them trying to get you to do work they should be doing, but you can also use that as a metaphorical work. Like they're trying to get you to take on all of their emotions and what they're going through and say, I'm dealing with this. Now you have to deal with this too. Help me deal with this. And as much as we want to be there for people, sometimes it's about saying, like, listen, this isn't my job to help you figure this out. This isn't my job to take on, sometimes we'll feel like a bad friend of like, am I leaving them? It's like, no. There's listening to a friend and helping them, and then there's them thinking and assuming that you have to solve their problems, and that's kind of the situation popping up. Your hint and clue that this is happening is how it affects your kind of day-to-day to, this is when you're at home, living life, this is when you're at work, whatever. This is when you start kind of messing up in small ways. I want to be clear that these will be small. They're not going to dramatically affect, you don't have to worry about like losing your job or everything falling apart. It's more just like things feel a little off. You accidentally forget to turn on the oven before you're cooking. You thought you bought more, paper towels. And then when you need a paper towel, you're like, oh my goodness, I forgot. And it's just the small slip-ups that can kind of make us feel overwhelmed and impatient in the moment and make us feel a little, because they're kind of core little small slip-ups, trick us into thinking they're a bigger deal. That's the main thing spirit guides keep telling me. You're going to think it's a bigger deal than it is, but it really is. So like your world's fine, nothing's changed, your emotional mindset's good and everything like that. So when this happens, you can comfort yourself and say, whatever, I'll be without paper towels for a second. I'll go get paper towels. Oh, whatever. Not a big deal that I forgot that. I'll turn that on now. I'll just have to wait an extra second. But these are your clues and indication that this is the person affecting you, because that's how they're like messing with I'm being told about chi right now. So your chi, your emotional mindset, a bunch of stuff. Anyways, well, we get into some decision making and the ultimate positive affirmation, triple confirmed over here, and here, that not only is everything going to be okay with this situation, but you're going to have a really dramatic outcome. It's like you're being given a lesson that you're going to successfully learn. So over here with the 7 of Cups in reverse, it shows that you've been having trouble standing up to this person, or kind of being like, listen, it's not my job to take care of this, or I don't want, I'm not going to answer the phone calls anymore, because it feels like by saying no to them, you're preventing some form of option in your life. Maybe you feel that you don't have a lot of friends and this is your only friend, and you're like, I can't get rid of my only friend. You know what I mean? Either way, you will ultimately be choosing, like saying no to what feels like options, a bunch of options. But I want to point out something important in the High Priestess. Well, let me go here. I'm being told to talk about this first before the High Priestess. The 7 of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles is showing us somebody who, when it's starting in the month, it's in reverse. They are being used for their generosity, their energy, the other people know it, and they're this is somebody who's very giving and loving, and the people keep popping up and knowing this and trying to take whatever they can get from them. But here's the beautiful thing. When it's upright, this is somebody who can still be themselves, still be kind and generous and loving, but they also are able to set healthy boundaries and say, yes, of course I'll help you, but I'm not available on the weekends. Oh, yes, I love you so much, but that seems like that's your situation you need to figure out. I love you and I'm here for you, but I'm sorry, but that's your journey. Or I feel like you're kind of draining my energy and I need to go take care of me in order for me to continue to feel like I can be the person I want to be. And that person is somebody who is giving and loving. So that's a pretty beautiful and important kind of almost like final lesson to learn in order to hop, skip, and leap into being the magician. And I want to point out the high priestess. Oh my goodness. So what feels like you're giving up other options is something to consider in the high priestess card. In the high priestess card, this is somebody who is a pillar of her community because she knows that when she chooses something, she feels so right about it. And not everyone maybe will understand what she's doing at first and maybe even disagree or, be like, either disagree or think like she's, I'm tripping over my words. Disagree. We'll leave it there. Disagree. The point is, when people disagree with her, she doesn't care if people are down with what she's putting out there. She knows it's ultimately the right decision. She does not need to be a part of the group. But the high priestess ultimately always has people turn around in her direction because she makes the right decision, because she's so intuitively connected. So this is something to consider. While at first it might feel like you're getting rid of some options, and you will make the decision to go this way instead of that way, will ultimately lead to better friends, other people agreeing with you in that decision. You're going to be ultimately led. Sorry about that. Just didn't want you to have to hear an ambulance for a little while. Anyways, she ultimately, in the end, wins, but she feels so right during the journey before people ultimately come to her side. She is always admired from afar. I want to be clear about that. So if you go through a small time period where you feel like, oh, I no longer am friends with this person, I feel a little lonely, people are admiring you. You are that cool person. You're the it girl or boy, if you know what I mean. But people often thrive and say, oh, the it girl or boy, like they're so popular. Often they were unpopular to begin with, and they were still that cool person before. Now, this does not mean that you're going to be alone for a while before. I am being told other opportunities are going to be coming in very hot and quickly. Not only because we have the promise of the High Priestess card, but we have the ultimate confirmation of the Chariot and the Magician. This is super intense, powerful energy. So it almost feels like the time period of pushing this person away is going to be so short between this huge positive manifestation for better people in your life. This could be a romantic partner. This could be other friends. This, whatever it is, you're going to be winning. Often when we feel like a conclusion has come to a problem, it's just like you're glad it's over. But I feel like winning a situation is then getting something even better in return after it's done. So I'm really excited for you because not only is this a huge shift that you need and it will positively affect your day-to-day, you no longer will have to deal with this type of tension. You can still learn to love and be who you truly are, but you're going to be opening up a part of yourself that will be able to understand this complexity between being a generous person and setting boundaries, and then ultimately be able to manifest anyone they want. So consider, after you figure this out and you start to invite these magical people into your life and feel really connected and happy by this huge shift, this is your indication that you should start thinking about what else is it that you want to attract into your life. Because you can do it, and I'm pretty excited for you. Anyways, if you enjoyed this reading as much as I did, you can tell how excited I am for you, please consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And it's the end of the video. Bye!